In this video, we are going to understand how to write a basic test case and execute in Selenium. So some basic prerequisite is you should have some IDE installed and you have the required Selenium JAR files in place. You have a particular browser and the driver installed accordingly. Now we are going to take a scenario and then we are going to just automate it in Selenium. So I'm not going to cover all the parts which will be covered as part of different videos, like in terms of what locators are there. And in this video we are going to take a basic scenario and understand how the automation process works. So I'm going to take this website sourcedemo.com. So in this particular website we are going to launch this URL, and then we are going to pass some credentials into this, and then we are going to click on login, and after login we are going to click on this burger menu icon, and then we are going to click on the logout. That's the basic scenario. So in terms of automating, we need to first understand stepwise what we are going to do. So first we are going to launch the browser as we have seen, and then we are going to input the credentials, and then we are going to click on login, and then we are going to click on the hamburger menu, and then we are going to click on the logout. That is a basic scenario which we are going to automate. Okay, so let me open my Eclipse, and here I'm going to create one class. So right click, new, and then I'll select a class. I'll select Selenium test case, and I'll select this option, public static void main. Click on finish. Okay, so let me mention my scenario here so that we are able to understand what we are going to do. So in order to comment multiple lines, we can use forward slash asterisk and mention, and then asterisk and forward slash. Now this is going to comment out everything. Okay, so the first thing is we are going to launch the browser. So let's understand how to do that. So I'll put a double forward slash, I'll put launch browser. We are going to use Chrome in this. So first thing is we are going to do system dot set property, and then we are going to pass parameters in this. So first parameter is going to be WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver, and then we are going to pass the path wherever you have kept your driver file. Okay, so I have kept my Chrome driver here, so I'm going to copy this path, and then the file name is chromedriver.exe, so that also I have to mention. So first I'll mention this path, and then I'll double forward slash chrome driver.exe, and I'll put a semicolon here. Now we have set the properties. Now we have to launch the browser, so we'll write web driver is equal to new chrome driver. Now it is going to throw error, so I'll just import the related files. So I'll click on import. I will click on import here as well. So now I'm able to launch a browser. Now after this, inside launch browser, I have to launch the URL. So I'll just mention this so it is very clear on what we are doing. So I'll write driver.get. This particular command is used to launch a URL. So here I'll mention the website with which we are going to work. So this is sourcedemo.com. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, I'm going to put this here. Now first when we launch, it is going to get launched in minimized window. So I'm just going to maximize it, maximize window. This is just an additional step which I'm doing here. For the basic step, if you want to skip this, you can skip this as well. This is pretty basic. Driver dot manage, you'll be able to find manage, then dot, you'll be able to find window here, window, and then we'll click dot maximize and put a semicolon here, so that this is going to maximize our window. So this is the basic launch browser and then launching the URL. So we'll just quickly run this. So see, the browser is launched and it is maximized and our page is loaded as well. Okay, now what we need to do is, the next part is we have to input the credentials. Okay, so here if you see, since this is a demo website, they have mentioned out few usernames and the password as well to log in. Okay, so how would we do this? The first step is going to, we need to inspect this page. So we'll right click and we'll click on inspect. Once we click on inspect, whatever element we want to work with, so whatever you see on the web page are called web elements. Okay, now with whatever web element we want to perform an action on, we have to find that particular web element, and that web element should be unique, and then we can perform operations on that. Okay, so I'll click on this. So this is actually going to give the focus to whatever web element it is. So first we want to find this input, so I'll click on this, and here if you will notice, you'll be able to see that there are a lot of properties with which we can choose. So there are different properties like class, ID, name, uh, XPath. Oh, there are a lot of different properties. So we are going to cover all the different locators in a different video. But here I'm just going to create a simple script. So you can use any of these properties. So ID is username. I'm going to use this. So you just copy this, and here I'm going to say that login page. Okay. Now for us to store it into a web element, it's always a good idea to mention it as web element and store it in that. But we can just write it directly as well. So we'll write driver dot, and now we want to find the element. So we'll find this particular property called find element by. So we'll select this option, and then we'll write by dot, and we'll be able to find a lot of different options. So since we have selected ID, we are going to select ID here. Okay, and then we have to mention what is the ID. Okay, so this is the ID which I have copy pasted from this HTML DOM structure, which is pointing to this standard user. So if I focus on this, you are able to see that it is navigating to that. In case this focus button is not clicked, just click on that and you will be able to see that, just in case you are not able to see that. Okay, now we'll put a now we are able to find this particular element. Okay, now what we want to do is, after finding this particular element, we want to pass some data into this, right? It's a text box. So I'll write dot, and send keys is a command which is used to send whatever text you want to input in that. Okay, so I'll put select send keys, and then since I'm going to use see accepted username, standard user, logout user, so let's take logout user, and anything we can use. Okay, and that I'm going to pass here. Okay, so whatever is a valid credential, I'll put a semicolon. So let's understand this quickly again. So first we are using the driver instance, then we are trying to find the element. We are able to find this using ID unique property, and what is the property that we have extracted from the HTML DOM structure. Now with this much command we are able to find the element. Now we want to perform some operation on this. So this is done using various keys. In this particular way we have to send some particular text, so that's why we are using send keys. Okay, now since we have done with our username, now we have to work with our password. Okay, now if you will take a look at this page, I'll right click again, I'll do the inspect, and I'll click on this and I'll navigate here. So here again, if you take a note at this, we have different attributes, different properties mentioned here. So we can take, let's say, name or ID, anything. I'll take ID only, and ID is password. So I'll go back to my Eclipse and I'll copy paste this, and here I'll mention this. So we are finding the element by, it is not username, in this case it is password, so we are going to mention password, and in since we are passing some keys, so whatever is the password. Okay, so let's take a look at this, and if I scroll below, the password they have mentioned is secret underscore sauce. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to put it here. Okay, so we have entered pass. I have input username. Okay, so just to explain, if someone new is coming with this code, and then input password. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to click on the login button. Okay, so we'll inspect and we'll try to find the unique element for the login button. So here this property is selected. You see we have class, we have data test, we have ID. So again we are getting ID, so we can use ID or we can use name as well. So we are going to use ID. Login hyphen button is there. Okay, so I'll copy this and I will write by dot login hyphen button. Okay, but in case of login button we don't have to pass anything. What we want to do is instead of sending some details there, we want to click on it. Okay, so if I press dot here, I'll be able to find a lot of different elements, and here you will see click option is there. So I'll select click option, and what this is going to do is this is going to find this particular web element with driver.find element by .id login button, and once it is finding this element, then it will perform the operation click on this. Okay, now I'll just mention click on login button. Okay, I'll just quickly run this. So you'll be able to see that we are able to launch the URL, and we have input our username, and we are trying to click on login, but there is some issue, it seems. Let's see. So maybe we can try to change the password, change the username. So I'll try to use this. I think that's a logged out user. As they have mentioned, I have not read their entire documentation. So I'll just replace this with this particular credential what they have given, and hopefully we should be able to log in. So if I click on this, see I'm able to log into this page correctly. Okay, now what I want to do is as part of this scenario, I want to click on this, and then I want to click on logout. Okay, so for us to click on this, we need to find the property of this hamburger menu. Okay, so I'll right click on this, and I'll click on inspect, and I'll just put this down, and here click on this, and I'll focus this back again. So here if you see, uh, we are able to find button ID here, style position, so ID is still there. I'll try to see if this is unique. We can, yeah, this is going to be unique, so we'll be able to find the property of this. So now we have reached to the next page. So what we are going to do is click on hamburger menu. Okay, now again driver dot find element by dot id, and I have copied that id already, so I'll put that id here. Okay, now what we want to do on this particular hamburger menu, we want to click on this. Okay, so I'll perform a click operation here, dot click. Okay, so one thing to note here is sometimes when we uh, perform certain operations, we have to make sure that the page is loaded, and we try to put in some wait times there. Otherwise what happens is the code keeps running, and if it does not find that web element, it is going to crash. So we are not going to put the wait in the initial time. We are going to see what kind of errors we are facing, and then we can resolve this on the fly. Okay, so after clicking on this, I have to click on logout. Okay, so I have clicked on this, and now this element is appearing. So I'll right click on this, and I'll click on inspect again. Now I'll focus on this logout button. Sorry, it has actually got clicked. So give me 1 second, or let me close this altogether and open it again. So source.demo.com. Okay, we'll click on this, and I'll click on inspect. Okay, so here you see we have logout sidebar link. Okay, so I'm going to select id only, and again here I'll say click on logout link. Okay, now I'll write driver dot find element by dot, again we are going to use id, and then I'm going to mention this. Now what we want to do, what operation do we want to do on this? I want to click on this. Okay, so I will do a dot click. Okay, and I'll close this. Okay, now see, our scenario initially was to launch the browser, input the credential, click on login, click on hamburger menu, click on logout. Okay, so here if you see, let me expand this. So here if you see, we have I'll remove this since we have put everything down. We have launched the browser, then we have launched the URL, we have maximized the window, and we have found the unique properties of the elements and input the username, password, clicked on login button, then clicked on hamburger menu, and then clicked on logout link. It might give few issues because of the wait, it might not, but let's see it out. Let's check it out. So I'll click on run. So your browser is launched, the URL is launched, the login has happened. I think the login could not happen because it has done very fast. So what we'll try to do is we can introduce some weights here. Okay, so what I'll do is after keying in the credential, I will put a weight. So there are different types of weights, static, dynamic weights, but we'll not go into that discussion. We'll just put a static weight called thread.sleep, and in this whatever seconds we want to define, so it is defined in terms of milliseconds. So I'm putting 2000 here because we want to wait for 2 seconds. Okay, now after adding this, you'll be able to see that it is throwing some exception, so we have to just add this throws catch declaration or surround it with try catch. So now no errors are there. I'll try to run this and we'll see how it is performing. So see, now it is going to wait for 2 seconds and then it is going to click on login. So what happened in the previous cases, the moment it entered the URLs, it was trying to, the moment it entered the credentials, it was trying to click on the login button. So it was not able to find the element, and that's why that operation did not happen. So that's where the wait is used. Okay. Now, even in case of logout, we were not able to see the logout is happening. Okay, so the moment you click on hamburger menu, after that the logout link appears. Okay, so for we'll give certain wait time for this uh, logout link to appear. So I'll write thread dot sleep and I'll put 2000 and I'll put a semicolon here. Okay, now I'm creating the test case in this way so that we are able to understand that where we could find issues and how do we solve those things. If I click on run now, it is going to launch this. It is going to wait for 2 seconds, then click on login, then it has clicked on hamburger menu, and then it has clicked on logout. So the initial scenario what we have created is working fine. Okay, now whatever the execution is happening, we will be able to find all the details here. Okay, if any error is there, we are going to find it here. Okay, now there are certain other things which we could do, like this maximize window, to maximize it, and in case we are trying to debug or we are trying to see actually when we are testing our basic test cases, then we can use these wait commands. And let's say when you are creating a test case, you have to close the browser as well, right? So you can always use a basic command like close the browser, and I'll just put a wait here so that we are able to see that it has reached back to the initial page. So I'll put a 2 second wait here. And for closing the browser, we have two commands called driver.close and driver.quit. So what driver.close does is it will open it will close the browser which is in focus. However, driver.quit is going to quit all the browsers which are open on your machine. Okay, not only on the focus one. Okay, so we'll test this out. Now, in order to understand the detail about the locators and everything, I'm going to create separate videos for that. But this was just a basic video to understand how to create a test case. So see, we were able to see that successfully the browser launched, login happened, it clicked on logout, and then the logout happened. So time to wrap up this video. Let me know if you found this content helpful. Do like, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to create a series of videos on Selenium. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye bye.